Hey Ghosts and Ghouls, I'm about to edit this video, so I wanted to pop in right quick and say that, yeah, I did not do the 31 days like I thought I was going to, and then, I just had a lot going on, with, like, school, personal life, work and stuff, so I got a little busy, and, you know, like, my logic is always, like, school comes first, then, like, you know, sometimes gotta put your personal life first. So I'm sorry I did not upload a video every day, but I hope you guys like this video. I'll try to upload as many as I possibly can, but I felt like I had to pop in before just putting on the video like nothing ever happened, because I recorded this beforehand, just did not edit it. But yeah, so hope you guys enjoyed the video.
Hey Ghosts and Ghouls, welcome back to my channel. I am so excited for today's video because I'm going to be telling you guys everything wrong with the Nightmare on Elm Street series. So I'm very excited for this. For those of you who haven't seen my Freddy vs. Jason video and who I thought should have won, one, you should go check that out. Two, I did say in that video, because as I was thinking about it, I'm like, there's just so much wrong with the Nightmare on Elm Street series, and I was like, I'm going to make a video on it. So here's that video. There is a lot wrong. For those of you who don't know, I am a very big Nightmare on Elm Street fan. I have my Freddy poster back there. I got my shirt on, my Freddy sweater. I got my little Nightmare on Elm Street hat on. See, it's got the, yeah. Anyways, but I'm a very big Nightmare on Elm Street fan. Nightmare on Elm Street is my favorite series. My favorite horror film is specifically Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors. Came out in 1987. Anyways, so yeah, I'm a big Nightmare on Elm Street fan. I absolutely love the series. My favorite horror film series. So for me doing this, I'm like, I definitely feel like I am knowledgeable enough where I can give more details on this. But quickly before I get into the video, if you haven't seen the Nightmare on Elm Street, there is going to be spoilers. I feel like that's a given. So if you don't want spoilers, yeah. Also, I kind of came up with this list off the top of my head. I'm sure there's more. I could go into more specific movies. So comment down below, like, if I missed anything, you're like, you missed this, like, comment that. So, like, you know, we can all see what's wrong with it. Also, if you want to see me maybe do more specific Nightmare on Elm Streets, like, comment that down below. Or maybe this could become a series on my channel where I talk about what's wrong with certain horror films, or, like, what's wrong with, like, a horror film series. So, you know, comment that down below too if you want to see more videos like this. But without further ado, I'ma shut up and let's get into this video. Alright, let's get started. So like I said, this all came off the top of my head. I feel like some of the movies I could literally dedicate whole videos to what's wrong with them. Fun fact, because I'm such a big Nightmare on Elm Street fan, I don't know if it's still on Netflix, but they had a 4-hour-long documentary. I think it was called, like, Never Sleep Again or something like that. And it's basically, like, a 4-hour documentary on all of the movies, how they made all the movies, like, things that they noticed that were wrong with the movies. So you guys should check that out if you're, like, interested. It actually, even though it is very long, it was really interesting, and I learned a lot. And that's kind of where, like, because I watched that, like, certain things I noticed to put into here. But yeah, let's just get going with this. So, number one, the first thing wrong, the whole second movie. Yes, Netflix only has, I don't know if they still have it, but they only have, like, every time I've ever looked, the second Nightmare on Elm Street, or, like, the remake, which both suck. But they only have the second one. So, like, if I ask, like, a normal person, like, oh, not a normal person, but, like, just an average person, like, hey, have you seen Nightmare on Elm Street? They're like, oh, yeah. I'm like, what's your favorite? And they're like, the second one. I'm like, you're not a Nightmare on Elm Street fan like that. Any, like, huge, diehard Nightmare on Elm Street fans I've asked, or just big fans of the series, every time I ask them, like, what's your least favorite movie? The second one. It's always the second one. And there's a lot of reasons why. Like, I could dedicate a whole video to what is wrong with the second one. But just a big, like, a general thing, and this is being very general, because there's so much wrong with that movie. Which, by the way, if you haven't seen the series and for some reason you want to watch this, great. But if you haven't seen it, I promise you, you do not have to watch the second one. You can go 1, 3. Don't have to watch the second one. But the first thing wrong with it is the whole concept. So basically this guy, like, this teenager moves into, like, Nancy's house, and Freddy basically comes into his dreams and is like, kill for me. Which, one, there's a lot wrong with that. For starters, one, it's like the kid never heard Freddy's name before, like, didn't know anything about him. So that doesn't make sense, because you have to know who Freddy is in order for him to, like, come into your dreams. The only exception is like, the, like, kids that the parents murdered him. That's a little different, but if you haven't heard of him, like, he can't come into your dreams like that. Two, this is, like, a really minor detail that I saw in the documentary that I'm pointing out. Freddy's eyes are green. In this movie, his eyes are red, and I will insert 2 photos of that so you can see what I'm talking about. Yeah, there's a difference. I know that's like a really minor detail, but it's not Freddy. Like, it is Freddy, but it's not like, it's like, why did they feel the need to change that? And I think they actually pointed that out in the documentary, like, and I think they did, in the third one, they went back to green. Also, the biggest, like, this movie broke a lot of the normal rules of Freddy. Not that he has, like, a clean set, but, like, you know, there's a set of rules. This is the big one that they, like, this movie broke all the rules. And one of the biggest rules they broke was Freddy comes out of the dream. Nobody pulled him out. Like, there was no Nancy pulling him out, but he came out of the dream and he, like, made, like, the pool, like, there was, like a party going on at a house. He made the pool, like, super hot. I think he, like, yeah, like, kind of brought, like, the fence in and stuff. But he did a bunch of, like, weird things, and he came out of the dream and nobody brought him out, and that goes against the rules of Freddy. So there was a lot wrong with this movie. I really could make a whole video on it, but this video would take too long to make a whole video, or to talk about every little thing wrong with that one. But that's number one. Number two, and this one might not seem like a big deal, and it may, but, like, to me it is. Okay. Patricia Arquette plays Kristen in Nightmare on Elm Street 3. She was not the one playing Kristen in Nightmare on Elm Street 4. They had Tuesday Night, which the reason for that was because Patricia Arquette's, like, management or whoever, like, they did not want her, or, like, Nightmare on Elm Street couldn't give her enough money to do the third one, so they're like, she's not doing it. So they actually, I believe what they did was they did, like, a fan thing where they picked a fan to play Kristen, and Tuesday Night's the one that got it. She sings a song in the beginning of the movie, which is not a bad singer. I just wasn't the biggest fan of her acting. But I feel like Patricia Arquette would have been so much better. I really wish she would have done it instead. But, like, again, Tuesday Night, like, she did alright. I just would have rather Patricia Arquette, but her singing's really good. I will give her that. Next. Number 3. The biggest pet peeve I have with this whole thing. In Nightmare on Elm Street 1, Nancy, obviously, she goes to the dream lab or whatever. She goes to sleep. She wakes up. She has, like, gashes on her arm. And then she takes out Freddy's, like, she pulls out Freddy's hat. And she's like, I pulled this from my dream. So, yeah, that's a thing. And basically, like, at the end of the movie, Nancy pulls Freddy out of her dream because she's like, I can pull things out of my dream. Because, like, all these kids have, like, dream powers in a nutshell. Like, Nancy can pull, and, like, I mean, I know some of the kids in the first one didn't, but, like, Nancy can pull things out. Kristen can bring people in. Like, Kincaid, he's very strong. Yeah, like, you know, like, they all have powers, but the thing that makes me so mad is in future movies, excluding Nightmare on Elm Street 4, but I don't think she pulls anything out, Alice, they have it, like, in, like, the sixth one, it's, like, Freddy's dead, The Final Nightmare, and then, like, Freddy versus Jason. Like, people can pull things out of dreams. That makes me very angry, because it's like, no, only Nancy can do that. And, like, Alice, I don't think she did it in Nightmare on Elm Street 4. I don't recall. I don't think she did. But she was the Dream Master, so she could take everybody's power. So if she did that, that would have been okay. But all these other people are doing it in these other movies, and it's like, you can't do that. Like, only Nancy can do that. And that always bothered me, that, like, because I'm like, how is it these random kids can pull stuff out? And, like, that's the only power, like, from other things. Like, oh, I pulled this from out of my dream. Like, Nancy can do that, but, like, these other kids and stuff, it's like, no, because if that's the case, it's like nobody's pulling stuff into dreams. Nobody else has these other dream powers. Yeah. Okay, next. This is a stupid one. And if it wasn't for this, we wouldn't have a series. Freddy keeps coming back. Why? How does he keep coming back? And with that, Freddy, like, there's really no way to kill him. Every movie, they try different things. And in the sixth one, you'll see he says, like, they tried burying me, or they tried burning me, they tried burying me, like, holy water. Like, he says all these different ways people try to kill him. He's like, nobody's ever killed me. So to me, I'm like, one, why is there no way to kill him? Because and two, how does he keep coming back? Like, you know, it just doesn't make sense. And also, with that, the fact that Freddy can even come into dreams, like, he was murdered, like, or he was burned alive. And, sorry, I kind of went under the pretense people have already seen this, because I was like, oh, I didn't really give a synopsis, but it's okay. But, like, he was burned alive in his boiler room, but he can somehow come into people's dreams. He comes back, like, he came back from the dead, can come into people's dreams and kill them, but then when they try to kill him, like, it doesn't really work, and, like, he keeps coming back. I mean, it's a good movie series, and without that, we wouldn't have it, but it realistically does not make sense. Yeah. Next. The sixth Nightmare on Elm Street is Freddy's Dead, the Final Nightmare. This is like the biggest, weirdest plot twist. All this, okay, we've gone through 5 movies, right? Sixth one, he has a wife and a daughter. Well, he kills his wife, but he has a daughter. That's like really weird. Like, because, and this is where it's like the biggest plot hole, because I'm like, okay, we went through 5 movies. There was no mention of a daughter, like there's no mention of a wife, like it just made it out like he like lived in his boiler room or was like all alone in his boiler room, and he brought kids in and he was like, and killed them. Yeah. But it's like, you know, like that's just such a big plot hole and like such a big thing to add. Like, oh, he had a wife and a daughter, and like, yeah, I didn't quite like it, if I'm being honest. Yeah. After like, okay, 1, 3, and 4, I'm like, they're good. 5th one's alright. 6th one. The 7th one was kind of just like a fan film. It's really weird, but that was more of like a fan film, so I don't really include that. Freddy vs. Jason was obviously great, and then the second one was But yeah, I feel like sometimes they just don't stop. But yeah, he has a daughter, like what? She wasn't there before, and now she's here. Like, she was not in any of the storyline, and now suddenly in the 6th movie, you're like, oh, he has a daughter, and now the movie's about her. Like, kind of stupid if you ask me. Next, Nancy's house is his playground in future movies, but in the first movie, it's his boiler room. Yeah, like, because, you know, before he died, he would lure kids into his boiler room. He would then murder them. Also, this was another one. This might be a little trigger warning, so bear with me. He technically was they say he was like a child molester and he murdered people, but like we low-key, people don't acknowledge the child molester part. But it's like he would lure these kids in and like murder them in his boiler room. And in the first movie, you constantly see like the boiler room. Like he's bringing these kids from the dream into the boiler room. And then once you hit even the second and the third film, granted the second one sucked, but like everything was then Nancy's house, and some might say, oh, well, like, you know, she lived, but it's like, but there was all these other kids, like in the third film, where, you know, he killed, like, you know, their parents killed him, burned him alive in his boiler room. So it's like, why is it now like, after literally, like, the first movie, boiler room, every other movie, it was always going back to Nancy's house, and it's like, but there's these other kids where their parents, like, murdered him. So it's just weird to me, like, because in the end of the third one, granted, they did go to his boiler room, but, like, you know, it's weird. It's like, why is it now always Nancy's house? Because it's like, okay, yeah, sure, her mom had his claw hand in, like, a boiler or furnace. I don't know what it is, but it's called, but nobody's houses have those anymore. Mine doesn't, at least, but I did this and I don't have my glasses on. Anyways, but yeah. I just think that was really interesting because he lured kids into his boiler room, and then in the first movie, that's what he was using, and then it's just like, not a thing. But yeah, alright, that's all I got for you guys today. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, because we never know when I'm posting a video on this channel. Comment down below, did I miss anything? Do you want to see me do more, like, videos like this where I talk about movie series and, like, everything wrong with them? I know that sounds mean, but like, yeah, I can talk about everything wrong with them, or like, you know, like little details where it's like, you know, this doesn't really add up. You know, let me know if you want to do that, want to see me do that, or if you want me to get more specific in these Nightmare on Elm Streets, because that second movie, that's gonna be like an hour-long video. What else was I gonna say? Oh, so check out my Instagram at HorrorLover13. I post special effects makeup on there. I'm trying to do 31 looks this month, so go check that out. Check out my website, queenofhorror.com, where I post everything horror in case you're not getting enough horror on this channel. And I do have an Etsy shop at Sydney's Sewing Studio that I will link down below. Check that out. I sold out of all my Pennywise pillows, but I have like Nightmare Before Christmas, like Halloween Mickey Mouse. I have like Witch one, Ghost one, like Sugar Skull pillows. Like, those were all pillows I was talking about, but it's like, I got a lot of Halloween stuff on there. Go check that out. Yeah, that is it for today's video. So till next time, bye guys! And just remember, never sleep again. Bye!